Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Varus supplementary guide, and today we're going to be taking a look at Crit Varus. So I think now at this point everybody knows that the best build for Varus is going to be the AP build, and basically that's what all of the top players are going for, and I've already covered that in the updated complete guide that I posted way back maybe a week or two ago. But I was thinking, you know, will Crit Varus still actually work? Now, I've tried out other builds like Lethality Varus as well. Lethality Varus kind of sucks. I don't recommend ever going for it. But will Crit actually work? So to test it out, I decided to build this build. Right, I'm going to talk a little bit more about it in the gameplay as to why I chose these items, but it's honestly pretty straightforward, right? So with the new Varus, Berserker's Grease helps you out really well in the early game, gives you that attack speed which then scales into AD and AP because of his passive as well, and of course you can really easily get down the blight stacks onto your enemies. And then of course BT as the first item is very logical. Decent stat line, you of course get the physical vamp as well as the lifeline passive, giving you that extra safety as well. Runans obviously is a very simple second item for Varus, being able to put your blight stacks onto 3 people simultaneously as well as auto attack 3 people at the same time. Really useful. And then because we already know, of course, that IE and Molar Reminder are going to be in the build. I don't really see a lot of better options other than Soul Transfer. I mean, obviously, you don't really want to go for Phantom Dancer. I think that Blaster is not that great. So I actually go for Soul Transfer as a third item. This is actually a little bit early for Soul Transfer because since it scales off of your crit rate, you don't really have much crit right now, so it's not that amazing as a third item. However, it does give you okay stats, a little bit of attack speed and AD, and of course you get that Shadow Dance passive which spawns the clones, which is really going to come in very handy when you hit 3 and 4 crit items especially, but not the best at this point. Right, so your last two items, it's pretty obvious. It's going to be IE for the bonus damage, as well as Molar Reminder for the extra armor pen and grievous wounds. Now, you could swap the order around here, which is what I actually recommend for a lot of champions, but the main reason why I decided to go for the Soul Transfer early is because Varus skills with attack speed, so it's not really that bad to build Soul Transfer earlier on, giving you basically the first 4 items basically give you some form of attack speed, which is very useful for him. Now the runes standard ADC loadout, don't need to explain much there. Spells, Flash and Cleanse if you need it. Of course, if you don't need it, Ghost is amazing for Varus. Really helps him out a lot in fights. Of course, Barrier and Exhaust always going to be options as well. But with all that, now let's move on to talking about the gameplay. Okay, so now let's get straight into the gameplay itself. And the first thing I want to talk about is why am I even going for this crit build? Well, I do of course know that the AP build is the best, and one of the main reasons why the AP build is the best is number one, you get a lot of attack speed in the early game, and number two, you are able to proc your W blight stacks, and of course with AP it's gonna do a little bit more damage with that slight bit of AP scaling. But when I really take a look at his AP scaling on his W, it really isn't that much, right? So I'm thinking the main strength of the AP build is probably just due to the attack speed, right? So I'm thinking if I can just build 3 attack speed items, or like, just a couple attack speed items early on, it's probably going to be about the same effect. Now, the kind of answer to that is kind of, but not really, because the crit items are a lot more expensive than the Nash's Tooth, for example. Like BT versus Nash's Tooth is quite a big difference in terms of cost, and of course BT just gives a lot less attack speed than Nash's Tooth. So in the end of the day, you're getting less attack speed at like 2 items, but of course when you get into Soul Transfer, you are getting more attack speed there. It's a little bit of a trade-off. So I'm thinking that in theory, this crit build should work. And it does work, as you guys will see just a little bit in this video. It does work, but I still think the AP build is better because you hit your spikes just sooner, and you have more ability to, get kills and snowball the game in the earlier parts of the game compared to the mid game with the crit build. Right? Of course, crit build takes a lot of time to scale and does scale well into the late game. And probably scales better than the AP build, but as I said, I still think the AP build is better. So in this game, we're playing with a Soraka. Varus not very support dependent, can work well with both Engagers and Enchanters. And we're playing against a Caitlyn Bard. So Caitlyn Bard, of course, is a very long range poke kind of lane. And you can see I'm taking a lot of poke already. Soraka takes a lot of poke as well. We're basically both 1 HP at this point, and we're struggling to really survive under tower. Now Kindred is marking me, and I'm afraid that I'm going to get dived by her, but thankfully it doesn't appear that that's going to happen. But we're already kind of struggling, so we're just trying to farm under tower really. And And yeah, so of course playing against Caitlyn Bart is going to be very difficult in a sense that Bart does quite a bit of damage, and of course Caitlyn does quite a bit of damage as well, and does have that range, right? And funny story, which is that this Bart was actually on my team the previous game. He was my support, and we ended up losing that game. I think he played kind of fine, but he did have some kind of troll ultimates here and there. But of course, Bart ultimate's not really the easiest thing to pull off, so I don't think he was doing it on purpose. But he did have a few questionable ultimates that got our team killed. Of course, it's part and parcel of playing Bart. So, like I said, I don't quite blame him. But this is a chance to, of course, get a win. Against him. I mean, honestly, I got nothing against him, right? It's not one of those situations where like this guy was feeding on my team. He's now on the enemy team. I really gotta win this one. It's nothing like that. I think he played fine. But just fun trivia, I guess. So yeah, here in the laning phase, of course, we are still in a pretty weak state. So we're just trying to really just get farm without getting poked too much. And you can see we are matching Caitlyn's farm because we haven't really actually been losing minions. And we're in pretty good shape in general. So long as we can basically avoid the poke and just get farm, it's pretty much gonna be fine, right? Caitlyn is attempting to zone us off the minions. If we lose like one or two minions every now and again, it's still fine. Bart ult comes in, I believe, and doesn't hit anything really. I'm taking a lot of poke, but thankfully I have a Soraka. And whenever you have a Soraka, you can kind of afford to take a bit of poke because Soraka can kind of just heal you back up anyways, which is exactly what's happening here. So I've gone from a pretty unhealthy state to now being like in a pretty healthy state in general. And of course, we all know sustain lanes do counter poke lanes. So in general, even if we do get poked, so long as we just don't die, Soraka can kind of sustain me back up so long as she has mana, and we're pretty much going to be a-okay. So not too much action happening in the laning phase because obviously we don't really want to pick a fight. The enemy team kind of does, as they're trying to do here. Soraka tries to flash behind me for me to block the shot, but a little bit of I guess miscommunication, you could say. Like we both kind of walked a little bit different and we didn't really get the combo off correctly. Now I hit the ult not onto really the target that I wanted because I was trying to kill Caitlyn, so I decided to commit with the flash onto the Caitlyn to get the kill on her. I'm fully expecting to die here. Soraka respawns with the ultimate, and I'm realizing Zyra doesn't have spells, so I'm actually able to run all the way to the blast plant myself over the wall, and look to survive for now. Now Soraka is rushing to me to heal me, and she actually does get the heal off. Diana now is going in. I'm going back in because now Soraka is healing me back up, and I don't actually need to retreat as much anymore. And it ends up becoming a triple kill for a Diana off of that. Honestly, I would say objectively that was a pretty stupid play. It was sort of a situation where like I just wanted to commit to the kill, flash in, trade 1-for-1, and then get out. But what actually ended up happening, I end up flashing in, getting the kill, running away, baiting 3 people in, and getting my Diana triple kill, which is definitely not intentional, but it definitely did work out in my favor, and I'm not going to complain about it whatsoever. But I think objectively that was not really a very good play. But, you know, sometimes bad plays work out. Doesn't mean that that's the correct play. It just means that sometimes, you know, doing the wrong thing it gets you rewarded from time to time, right? But over the long run, it of course will not. So now with that, we are still not even ahead of the Caitlyn because she got a kill and an assist as well, despite the fact that we killed her. And of course she's gotten the wave, whereas I'm still trying to get my farm like this. And we're basically still relatively even, all things considered. However, so long as we don't fall too far behind the Caitlyn, we're going to be in very good shape because, of course, Caitlyn has a trough in the mid game, and that's where we can really kind of outscale her at, like, you know, 2-3 items before she really hits her spike. Especially on 2 items, we definitely have a way stronger spike than her. Now, Dragon is up, and Soraka is getting caught by the Bart ultimate here. I tried to ult to save her with the CC, but at the end of the day, she ends up dying. I think I got off pretty good damage onto all 3 members there, but unfortunately, my team is not around to really follow up. We did secure the other objective though, so now we're contesting for the Dragon, and of course the enemy team did use a lot of tools already to get rid of the Soraka, and this allows us to basically run straight in. I get a double kill. Bart is now in trouble under the tower. I make sure to deal damage to him to at least get an assist, and Diana's chasing him down. I don't think we can really get him. And also to note is that in this match, I actually have Ghost instead of Cleanse, and you will see that nowadays, very commonly ADCs like to take Cleanse, including myself. However, you will notice that Ghost actually comes in very, very handy in a lot of these situations. Now, this is one of them where I used it to run them down. And the other situations was the one that I ran away at 1 HP after flashing in to get the kill on Caitlyn, where with Ghost, I was actually able to get the movement speed to run to the blast plant over the Dragon Pit, and actually remain safe. So it's technically, Ghost has really already gotten me like at least a kill and saved me from at least a death. Of course, Cleanse can sometimes do the same as well. But I think ever since the release of Cleanse, other summoner spells like Exhaust Barrier and Ghost have been very, very underrated. Just because of how strong Cleanse is. Now, don't get me wrong, Cleanse is very strong. As here, unfortunately, I get knocked up and I get interrupted, but I'm still able to get the kill onto the Kindred, get the reset, and then onto the Zyra. And now we're just running down the Bard. Bard gives up trying to run and just gives us the kill because he's gonna get run down anyways. There's no way he actually escapes. So sometimes, you know, despair hits when you realize you're gonna die no matter what you do, and you just stand on the spot. Happens to the best of us. I do that from time to time as well. But yeah, there we pick up three quick kills, and this gives me my second item. Now, at this point, out of the blue, after getting a double kill followed by a triple kill, now we're like 2k gold ahead of Caitlyn, and now we're on our second item. And in fact, Diana, of course, has the most gold in the game, followed by Darius and then myself. I'm almost equal to Darius, and I'm now suddenly super fed just off the last like 1 minute of gameplay. Right, so fight breaking out in the bottom side of the map. Now we are in position to actually rotate there. Soraka pops the ulti and gets the movement speed bonus for the healing. Now I'm just going to get off the ult here onto Darius. Darius looking for the resets but doesn't quite get it. Now I'm trying to run for it and run people down. Unfortunately, I get rooted and I, of course, don't have Cleanse. However, you can see I'm able to basically just run forward face first and basically kill everybody with the Soraka beside me to heal me back up. Bart, now finding himself in a little bit of trouble, has to kind of run away, and we're taking advantage of this to counter jungle the enemy team while our team is securing the tower. I basically healed myself back up to full with the help of course, Soraka's healing, as well as just myself just auto-attacking and life-stealing off the Bloodthirster by doing so on the enemy jungle camps. Now this Skullcrab is of course a mark for Kindred, so of course with that in mind we're going to have to secure it to ensure she doesn't. And unfortunately the red buff share despawns the moment I actually walk over, which, you know, happens from time to time, just a little bit sad. But now we can get off a base, and with those kills and that jungle farm, we actually are able to get the Noon Quiver, of course, a component to our soul transfer. So I did already mention this just now, but going for soul transfer as a third item when you only have one crit item generally is not really the best. You generally only want to go for soul transfer when you have like 75 to 100% crit. But in this case, it's a rare exception just because it gives 30% attack speed, and Varus makes very, very good use of attack speed. So that's why we're going for soul transfer a bit early. On other champions, I wouldn't normally go for it at this kind of crit rate personally. But it is probably going to work out for us this game. Right? Also, we're just very fed, right? Sometimes when you're very fed, the itemization is not as important. Now, Bard ults here, I suppose to try to save Darius, but Darius is really not getting saved by that Bard ult, because this gives my team more time to actually collapse. Now, a full-on fight is happening. I'm safely in the backline, not taking any damage. I'm trying to get into position to DPS though, which is why I'm ghosting forward and trying to run people down. I eventually get a couple of kills. Yeah, I tried to ult Caitlyn over the wall there, but I couldn't quite reach her. I didn't have flash. I think if I had flash there, I kill at least 2 more people, the Zyra and the Caitlyn namely. Here just deactivating the Caitlyn traps since she is nowhere nearby, and once again, just getting off the current jungle on the enemy jungle. And with 2 members dead / reviving and 3 of them back in base, we're going to try to rush the Baron before they can react. Now, I think they probably will suspect it, but I don't think they can get here in time. Darius actually decides to run straight into us, despite the fact he knows Baron is already taken. Bard with an actual good ult this time to give his team time to actually follow up, or rather to get to the fight. But unfortunately for him, Darius already falls. I'm going to have to take the fruit just for a bit of mana. And I'm running into the Caitlyn trap again. And my team is way ahead of me, and enemy team just runs away. Can't quite reach them. And yeah, I mean, with the Baron now secure, Diana is soloing the dragon while we're keeping the enemy team distracted. Kindred left on 1 HP, and pops her own ult just to ensure she doesn't die. We secure the tower with the help of Yasuo's wind wall to zone away any ranged attacks. Diana secures the dragon by herself, and we're gonna back to complete our soul transfer, putting us at 3 items. So a QSS in this game would be pretty handy because there is still a little bit of CC, like for example Bart's stun or slows, Caitlyn's traps, and Zyra roots, etc. But it's not very essential. The enemy team is not very CC heavy, which is really one of the reasons why I decided to go for Ghost. Of course, Ghost is amazing when the enemy team doesn't have a lot of CC or doesn't have crucial CC like Ahri Charm, Lux Binding, Morgana Binding, things like that. And Kindred Mark is still on the Skull Crab, which means that she only has like, I think like 2 or less marks. Otherwise, marks don't spawn on the Skull Crab. So we know Kindred is pretty much useless at this point. Like Kindred without marks and with bad KDA is basically not going to be very useful. Darius kind of getting caught here again. Can see the Lil, Soul Transfer, Ghosties spawning to just help me melt down the Darius. And Bart, I think, was trying to find a catch on myself and Soraka, but doesn't quite get it. And at this point, we're 10-0-6. Very fed. We're making our way back to base. But Kindred is coming to cancel us. Not sure if that's a good idea, right? So here, Kindred unfortunately does have her ult, so she cannot. We cannot really kill her. So she ends up on pretty low HP, pretty much 1 HP at this point. And I'm not gonna flash forward to kill her because I don't think she's worth my flash. At this point, at 10-0-7, you really only want to flash forward for a kill if it's on someone crucial. And at this point, it's probably either Darius or Caitlyn, or more likely you want to use flash defensively. Here is the Darius in question, and he is taking quite a bit of damage, but he is not really anywhere close to dying because he is a pretty tanky chap after all. Now my team is pushing in the top lane. Yasuo runs straight into the Caitlyn trap, takes an auto for his trouble. Caitlyn just trying to randomly lay down traps. We secure the tower. Darius is looking for something. I guess he has Ghost, but I don't at the moment. But I don't know if he knows that because he could have just ghosted and dashed on me. But thankfully, I remain safe. Now I'm very close to actually getting IE, so I'm actually greeting for the wave here. And unfortunately, that leads to me getting ulted by Bart. I try to flash away, but unfortunately I'm just caught in between everybody. And with the Soraka healing, with the W and the ult, I actually survived for a way longer than I should have, and actually nearly killed the Zyra. And maybe just if I stayed alive for like 1 more second, I could have just killed the Zyra and just DPS everybody after that. But as a result of my death, the rest of my team kind of follow suit, with the exception of Yasuo. And the enemy team mostly are all making it out. Now, thankfully though, with Zyra and Bart, you can't really do Baron. So thankfully that overstay wasn't a huge throw. I mean, it was a throw in the sense of giving the enemy team a huge shutdown, which is always going to be a bad thing. But it could have been worse, is what I'm trying to say. In fact, Yasuo is now going toward the Baron area. And of course checking, but we all know that they aren't there. Looks like he's going to go for the bot lane farm, which is huge at this point. And I'm just going to go ahead and walk towards Baron side because, of course, don't know why the auto target always forces you to attack the plant. But of course, you want to be in the Baron side as the ADC, or especially as the one of the most fed members of the team. Diana is, of course, even more fed than I am. And Diana, though, is coming to the wrong side of the map. Right, so here Darius tries to go in on me, but there's a Soraka next to me, and there's no way you can kill me when there's a Soraka next to me with the silence and with, with the heals. So we actually do Baron by ourselves without the Diana because she kind of refuses to come over to the Baron side. And Dragon is now spawning. Looks like a fight might break out in the mid lane, so we're just standing behind our team to see if they need any help. Dragon does come up. And Diana is going to start out the Dragon. Now we're just making our way over to kind of help her, but I honestly don't think she needs a lot of help with the Dragon. What I'm really hoping for is the enemy team coming to contest, and maybe we can start a fight. Bart out comes in a little bit too late. We claim the Ocean Soul. And Yasuo in a 1v2 in the top lane against the 2 enemy marksman style champions. And here we're just gonna quickly push in the mid wave, and of course we have the Baron minion, so we're looking to get some towers, pushes going in on all lanes. Definitely the most efficient way to use Baron, but also the most dangerous because it's very easy to get caught out. like what you see here. They're definitely trying to catch us out. Now, we get the tower, but unfortunately we end up dying for it. And yeah, this is just a little bit unfortunate in the grand scheme of things. Because I thought we could survive with Soraka next to us, but we end up getting bursted down. Yasuo with a pretty big two-man ulti onto two squishy targets. Darius going in with the ultis. Yasuo shuts him down. And only the bot lane and a 1 HP Kindred is left alive. Now we really want to look to take the inhibitor towers because I don't really think we can end here with Soraka and Yasuo. Or rather, we definitely can't end with Soraka and Yasuo. So we want to try to get inhibitor towers if possible. I think Yasuo could have definitely stayed there and forced that inhib tower. But now two-man ult comes in from the Bard. But you can see Yasuo going in. Soraka with the ulti. Soraka with the healing. Soraka with the gargoyles. And blocks for Yasuo. Yasuo getting healed back up by Soraka. In the meantime, I've respawned. I'm deploying on the map. And looks like the minions might secure the top lane tower. And it does secure the top lane tower, which is pretty nice. So only bot lane inhib is left alive. Elder Dragon coming up in about a minute's time. Baron coming up a little bit after that. And there isn't really much to do on the top side. So I'm actually going to just go over to the bot side. And I'm just gonna farm jungle because there's really not a lot to do right now. I'm just trying to get to my last item here, and I've also completed my QSS already. So we have that extra safety tool. Basically just farming the entire jungle at this point. Now my team might be randomly getting into a fight in the mid lane. I'm just looking for farm anywhere. We're not gonna get the item before the Elder fight though, so we are just now all in the enemy jungle and pretty much just zoning them away from the Elder. I'm not sure if Diana should be the one in the bush looking to trap. But a fight does break out. We hit my ult onto the back line, which is not really my intended target, but I guess it kind of works out. Darius jumping in. Now here the problem is, Darius is now just running me down. Full stacks on me, kills me, does the same to Soraka. Doesn't get the reset, but still kills both of us. I'm thinking this is a little bit of an issue. But in the meantime, their backline gets killed by our Diana and Yasuo. And Diana, of course, is very fed, but cannot really one-shot the Caitlyn, unfortunately, with the shield bow. With the Bloodthirster. And this actually leads to a bit of a horrible scenario where now our team is all dead, whereas three people on the enemy team are up. And this is going to give them the Elder Dragon. And I'm thinking, uh-oh, like we've done well this entire game. And is this where we throw the game? Because we were about 10k gold ahead of them. And now we've just given them Elder. Now the only saving grace here is we've secured 2 inhibitors. So with that, there's incredible amounts of pressure from our minions onto their base, right? So they're gonna have to waste time clearing minions, and they have not gone for the Baron. I thought they could send one person back and go for Baron, but they actually didn't. So now Baron is actually up, and this is actually a bit of a sticky situation because if we contest, we have to do so very carefully because they have Elder and they could execute us. But if we don't contest, we're giving them a free Baron Elder combo, right? And that could be the recipe to defeat. So here we're being very, very cautious. And this is going to be a very exciting fight because I, of course, know what happens here, this being a replay. A small mini fight breaks out on the left side, and I'm thinking, uh-oh, this is disaster. Diana has to flash out, has to run for the hill. Soraka is taking a lot of damage. I disengage ulti onto the Bard to ensure the enemy team cannot chase us down. And the enemy team now obviously turns onto the Baron. So now as a unit of 5, we are now going to the Baron with the Yasuo sweeping for wards. And I'm thinking that this is going to take a Diana Miracle Steal. Diana does get in, gets the Miracle Steal, and gets a huge 3-man ulti. So now I'm blast coning over the wall, flashing into the Elder buff team, and killing everybody because Diana got such a good ult that she essentially just one-shot, not one-shot, but did such a high amount of burst damage onto their entire team that I'm able to flash in and clean up. And only Zarya is left alive, but that's only because she decided to base to clear minions. And now she still has the Elder buff, so we gotta be a little bit cautious, but I don't think one Zarya can defend the base against, all of us. So, she pops the ult, barely does any damage, and we just end the game right then and there. Pretty exciting if you ask me, one of those rare times where you defeat the Elder buff just through wombo combo. And with that, I'm gonna leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.